Welcome to Lesson 5B for our Math 0232 class. In the next preview assignment and in the next class, you will use percentages to compare the relative sizes of two quantities. So to begin comparing quantities with percentages, we use percentages to compare two quantities by picking one value as a reference value. I had mentioned earlier about you starting a glossary or using sticky notes or flashcards or Google Docs, something to keep up with vocabulary words, processes, formulas, ideas. Here's a word that needs to be added to that list, reference value, and expressing the other quantity as a percentage of that reference value. For example, the Empire State Building in New York City, the tallest skyscraper in the world from 1913 to 1972, is 1,250 feet tall. As of 2018, the tallest skyscraper in the world is the Burj Khalifa in the United Arab Emirates. It is 2,717 feet tall. The Burj Khalifa is therefore, we have a ratio and we have a percentage. Here's the Burj, here's the Empire, and the Empire is our reference value. As tall as the Empire State Building. In this example, we're using the height of the Empire State Building as a reference value. So the Burj Khalifa is 217% as tall as the Empire State Building. This is a good time to pause. You go do all of question number 1 and then come back and follow along with the video. Question number 1 says, use the following table of skyscraper heights from around the world to answer the following questions. Starting with question 1, part A, write the height of the Woolworth Building as a percentage of the height of the Empire State Building. So it says it wants us to write the Woolworth Building, its height, as a percentage of the Empire State Building's height. Our reference value, and we're working on part A, our reference value is that we're going to write this in reference to the Empire State Building. The height of the Woolworth Building is 792 feet. When we divide, multiply by 100, we get 63%. So the Woolworth Building is 63% of the height of the Empire State Building. Moving on to part B, it asks or says, write the height of the Empire State Building as a percentage of the height of the Woolworth Building. So now the Woolworth Building is our reference value, and we're going to write the Empire State Building in terms of, in reference to, in comparison to the Woolworth Building. When we divide these out, we get, and multiply by 100, we get 158%. In other words, the Empire State Building is 158% of the height of the Woolworth Building. So it's the Woolworth Building plus another over half of it. Moving on with part C. Write the height of the Willis Tower as a percentage of the height of the Burj Khalifa. So here's the Willis. Here's the Burj Khalifa. They want us to write the Willis in terms of or in reference to the Burj Khalifa. When we write this down and then multiply this out by 100, after we divide it and multiply, I'm getting about 53%. So the Willis Tower is just about 53%, just over 50% of the Burj Khalifa's height. And we'll finish this section off with D, write the height of the tallest building as a percentage of the shortest building. Okay, the height of the tallest as a percentage of the shortest. So tallest is the Burj Khalifa. Shortest is Woolworth, and we've got to be careful how they're asking it because they want the tallest written in terms of the smallest. So the reference value is the smallest. we're comparing the largest to it. When we divide, multiply by 100, we're getting about 343%. Wow, that's a lot bigger than the smallest building. Now is a good time to hit pause. Go ahead and do question 2, and then come back to the video and we'll do them together. Welcome back. Let's work on question 2 together. Determine the combined height of all the skyscrapers that are listed in the table. So a quick addition, and you get 8,739 combined feet in the height of all of the skyscrapers listed in the table. Part A, determine the percentage of the total height of these skyscrapers that is from Burj Khalifa. Well, the Burj is 2,717 feet, and it says to determine the percentage of the total height. And so this is the total height. And so the percentage of that, so one tower is a third of the total height of all of the towers. And then it finishes with part B. So determine the percentage of the total height of these scrapers that is from the Woolworth building. The percentage of the total height. So the percentage of the total height that is from the Woolworth building, that's the Woolworth building's height. Here's the total of our buildings, so 8,739 feet. When we divide and multiply by 100, we get 9 point some change there. We're just going to call it 9%. So the shortest building is just 9% of the total heights. This is a good time to hit pause, go work all of question 3, which has parts A through E, and then come back and let's walk through these together. Starting with part A, which column contains the names of the buildings? That would be column A. Part B, which column contains the heights, the actual numeric heights of the buildings? That would be column B. Part C, which row contains information on the Chrysler building? And so the row for the Chrysler building is right here. And so that would be row 4. Part D asked, in which cell can the height of the Chrysler building be found? This is the actual height of the Chrysler building, which is in B. We always list the the letter first, B4. Part E, in question 1, part C, we express the height of the Willis Tower as a percentage of the Burj Khalifa. Write a formula we would enter in the highlighted cell C6. So this, let me get another color. This cell is the one that they're talking about because it is C6. And in C6, what formula would we enter in this cell in order to perform this calculation on the spreadsheet? And so again, it's asking to express the height of the Willis Tower as a percentage of the Burj Khalifa. We always start with an equals. And in this case, we're going to ask it to take the information for the Willis Tower, which is B6, and we're going to ask it to divide it by the height of the Burj Khalifa, which is B8. But our question says they want us to have this in a calculation of percentage. So depending on how you have your spreadsheets set up, this could give us a decimal value. So I'm going to insert some parentheses and then say when we're done, let's multiply it by 100. There are multiple ways to do the equation, but this completes our lesson 5B. Check your calendar to see if you have more lessons due by this week's deadline, and I'll see you at another lesson soon.